Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are on the map Beast of Hades with two competitors here. We can see the blue player is playing Armada today, and we've seen this map before on the channel, but just to give you a very quick overview, you can see there are several crystals on the map. They will give energy regeneration if you are, or just energy rather, if you are able to reclaim them. Now, as we zoom out a little bit, this is one of the several start positions on the map. This map is made for 1v1s, but also mostly team games. And you can see there are several sections of triple mexes, just with 4 just there. And then just a bit further back, we see an additional 2. Now, some players will decide to go up here to start with, and this will give a strong defensive position, meaning that your opponents can't push through from this side here. You can block off this side with 1, maybe 2 LLTs, pretty much securing your base as your units exit through the northern pass. However, it does make expansion a lot slower. In this centralized position here, this blue player will be able to move units out to the south to get these 6 metal points, and then also 1 to the north to get these 6 metal points there. And then maybe move the commander off to the left to these 3 as it marches towards the center of the map. And over there on the exact same spawn on the opposite side is the red player. Now, other things of note on this map is basically it's 4 lanes, but the main thing of note is these higher value metal points in both corners, and along the center here we see another 2 right here. Now, this water is not very deep either side, but it's deep enough that units will not be able to traverse through it, except amphibious units and obviously tech 3s. Now, as we zoom on over to the red player, they have gone Cortex, chosen the exact same start position, and have also prioritized getting red spots out. Now, the commander is still in base here, and getting a mixture of energy production, as you should do in these early stages of the game. Now, it will be down to how quick each player expands here as to who will get the benefit of that start position and how successful the early raiding can be. Now, as we zoom all the way out, the grunts are starting to make their way to the opposite side of the map. So let's switch to the normal camera, which will flip us around, and get started. So our players today are Mirrored and 8D. We'll see, or is that B8? BD? Nope, definitely an 8. We'll see if they think of any 8-dimensional plays for us today. Not that that is even a thing. Mirrored with his comm expanding and getting that LLT down. Now, he is hoping that these 3 pawns here will be enough to secure that ridge line. As mentioned earlier on, a single LLT or maybe 2 will be enough to secure that, but in that meantime, this entire back section is quite exposed. Mirrored also going for a defensive posture here, rather than what 8D's plan is, and the 8D's kind of pushed up as much as you can see just here. And more units are making their way down as well, and are just pressuring your opponent and just skirting the edge of his area, making sure that if he wants to push out, he has to push out units. He can't just naked expand with a constructor. Now, we look at a very tidy base here for Mirrored, with the solars and then a line of winds. Now, you may think, well, that's just done to be neat. However, not entirely true. These solars here will protect the winds from low to the ground units. And if they try and shoot like this wind here, or this wind here, or even this wind here, if they're on this side, they're gonna shoot the solars first, and they will actually protect them. Now, the reason why you don't see this very often is because obviously winds are very fragile. And if this mech goes, or even this mech go, they're probably going to take out the winds either side. Same with the radar. And then that will also chain and cause problems with your solars as well. But you do see solars used in wall formations quite often. Now, along the bottom side, as we were mentioning earlier on, these grunts have managed to make their way through this bottom side, breaking the kind of lock the very few units Mirrored had. At the same time, though, 8D, with no energy to use this LLT effectively, he manages to get through, take out the LLT and some very valuable early metal extractors here. At the same time, though, as we switch back over, 8D has managed to pretty much push Mirrored off of this high ground. And the biggest value here will be if he manages to get that constructor, which it doesn't look like that will be the case, as Mirrored does manage to defend the constructor, moving units in. But this is still going to put him a little bit behind. These grunts will not be able to get anything much more here, other than just kind of biding some time. Meanwhile, the pawns of Mirrored are getting ever so closer to the main base of 8D here. The closer they stay in this position, the less they're going to be able to do. They can traverse over the hill, though, being the power of the pawn, and completely bypass the commander. How much further this little pawn is going to be able to get, though, he's probably not very far, and he dies inside the crystal. Now, as the very first construction turret gets built by 8D here, we don't see any constructors scaling energy right now, and that is a big problem as he is really struggling for energy. Now finally pushing a constructor over to that, there is an idle res bot in this bottom left, top left corner, which he could have really done with getting these crystals to get him through this energy drought that he is suffering right now. Meanwhile, Mirrored is doing okay, has kind of pushed out a bit more than his opponent at this point and is looking to invest into vehicles. Whether this will be a full transition over to vehicles from bots, or he's going to keep both factions, or not factions, factories rather, on the go at one time is yet to be seen. Now, his commander is pushed up pretty far here, up into this high ground. He knows he needs more energy, so rather than finishing off these metal extractors, he's actually prioritizing some solar production instead. Mirrored is not pushing any of this high area up here at all, and is kind of leaving Mirrored to it. AD has started with a vehicle factory as well, but this vehicle factory has been placed away from all of the pre-existing build power. I say that, it's a single construction turret, so not that big a deal. But army value, the number keeps going up now as both factories are producing for Mirrored of a mixture of blitz and pawns here. The grunts are going to get out paced pretty quickly. The blitzes will be able to close down, and this northern, I say northern, it's not northern, this high ground here of Mirrored should be a well and truly in control now. Neither player prioritizing the higher value metal points, as we discussed at the beginning of the video. The 1.9 and the higher value ones are free. Now, they're not high enough to, you know, oh my god, this is amazing, I really need these. But if you're going to get them, they're worth getting. Now, 8D's commander is trying to walk down the middle, but that huge army is making its way across. And if these grunts are able to keep range of the pawns, he may actually be able to whittle down all of these pawns. However, instead he just drives straight into them, and now an opening has presented itself. Mirrored has no vision of the grunts at all, and they're going to make their way up, potentially catch a constructor here. Desperate reaction from Mirrored as he tries to send units to stop this. Now, whether these grunts are going to be able to get too much, they've got a metal extractor. Will they get the constructor? Yes, they do. They have been completely surrounded now, so this would be a perfect time to self-destruct these. Meanwhile, along here we see blitzes were having to turn around and run, but the pawns managed to make their way over the sharp terrain there, and now these pawns have managed to get right into the back of 8D's base, picking up quite a few metal extractors on their way. Will they be able to get the constructor? No. The constructor stays alive, but all of this time, these three guys are still making their way through the back line of 8D, managing to pick up a couple more metal extractors, and I think that's probably where they're going to die. Yeah, Mirrored is quite happy with their damage done at this time. They may still make it down to here. 8D without much vision in there. He does manage to see a single guy. Reinforcements were attempted to be sent, but they're going to get caught out by the LLTs. And the grunt only is not really working out for 8D. He needs some additional units. Pounders do work wonders against raiding units, but they're extremely slow. Numbers is looking very good for the blue player right now. Mirrored with a lot of metal income. And as an example here, as we just quickly zoom out before that army makes a push, Mirrored basically has pretty much this entire that annoying line has this entire side of the map, whereas 8D only has like this. So although it doesn't look that much of a difference, 8D would have to have like this entire part down here, which he doesn't have, and that's the equivalent of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 metal extractors. A lot, really. AD also positioning his comm in a bit of a precarious position here, right in the center of the map, going for the 2 high value metal points, but his opponent has an army that's well past his defensive line. And now with more units making their way around the top, he knows he's got LLTs there, so I think he probably thinks it's fine. He has full vision actually as well of those units. Surprisingly actually going in on them rather than waiting for them to come up. The resbots also will be pretty useful here as to just try and tip that army value a bit more onto Mirrored's side, but Mirrored's blitzes are doing tremendous work here, catching out an expanding con of 8D. And the Pounders will try and slow down any attacking force, but now with some stouts mixed in, 8D's commander in a even more precarious position, as these forces could make their way around at the same time as these and these. Mirrored knows the commander's there. And now 8D is literally sandwiched in between all of Mirrored's army. Question is he going to go for it? He needs to make the play if he's going to go. He's waiting for more units. Mirrored makes the move as we select Mirrored's line of sight here. He thinks the commander's there, but he's too late. Commander managed to escape in the water. If this would have happened literally 30 seconds earlier, that would have been a victory for Mirrored, but 8D making the most of that positioning choice there, and is actually making a push through. Mirrored is now having to rush for the defense as units are barreling through left and right. Pounders also doing a decent-ish job at kind of getting rid of some of this spam as it makes its way through. As soon as these stouts show up though, the Pounders are going to be very short-lived. And this entire army actually here of red gets completely wiped out. How much metal is there though? That is the question. Almost 2K's worth of metal now sits directly outside of Mirrored's base. Mirrored currently with a 6K metal lead as well. This is a lot of metal to be leaving lying around. Now, we do see there was about 400 worth of metal there. There was probably a bit more, but we kind of missed it. And still all to be played for, though. Neither player choosing to go to Tech 2 at this 14-minute mark. Air being produced somewhat by Mirrored. It looks like he's just going for fighters here. I'm surprised we're not going to see any bombers, but Mirrored is struggling for energy right now. And you can see it's got a huge bunch of energy converters here, which are all currently not functioning, even with wind at its highest. And that is due to this production here of advanced solars using pretty much all of that energy up. Now, when it comes to positioning, 8D is doing a good job at containing his opponent on this southern side here. Having a few forces just spread out stops these two constructors here, for example, from pushing out and getting all of those extra metal points. And normally this is what you see in a 1v1, is your opponent basically sits directly outside of your expansion line. And you just slowly fall back. And this bottom half is where 8D was testing pretty early on, and you can see Mirrored hasn't really moved out at all. If 8D had contested the northern side as well, Mirrored would probably be in a lot worse of position here, but Mirrored was able to push out along the north side instead of even bothering to contest 8D along the bottom. And that has given Mirrored a lot of metal available to him. Some attempts to push into the containment area of Mirrored there, and has ended up just losing units. Meanwhile, there's this army here that's in a bit of a weird position. Doesn't quite know where it needs to be, but Mirrored is making a push on an 8D here. The commander is very safe. And now all of Mirrored's army destroyed on this bottom side. There was a red resbot nearby, but doesn't seem like that's going anywhere. Or maybe it's been destroyed already. 930 metal sat here though, and that will pay for this. Tech 2 coming out from Mirrored at the exact same time exact same time Mirrored is making Tech 2. We also see 8D making Tech 2 as well. Now, Mirrored has a lot more in the way of energy production. We can see these advanced solars are basically powering all of these energy converters. And with a few energy storages planned to be built now as well, we're going to see a production of Tech 2 economy. Now, there is a push on the north side, but this Mirrored push will get absolutely destroyed as it tries to push into a large group of pounders, which will make this force lose all of its forward momentum. However, they will still get a constructor, which at this point in the game is not the biggest of deals, but controlling the reclaim fields is. And we can see a huge group of resbots ready to go, but 2.5k worth of metal now positioned on this northern side. A lot of metal to leave lying around, and 8D really needs to get that. As you can see, he's already got resbots heading up. 8D also preparing a bit of an air wall here, or an air protection wall, should we say instead. Building some AA turrets here in the expectation that there will be some bombers heading over to him soon. However, that does not seem to be the case at the moment. Now, we are seeing a difference in strategy. Quite often, in higher tier games, you see a lot of players choose to build a lot of energy storages. Now, in this game here, we're in the 40-ish OS bracket, which you could class as like mid-range, and there are a lot less energy storages being built. We do see 2 of them from Mirrored here, which will help with those kind of higher energy cost units if he wants to quickly pump stuff out. He is building more and more advanced solars though, in preparation for the fusion, it looks like. Meanwhile, in the center here, an attempted pincer maneuver on the middle army has not really gone as intended. 8D struggling for energy yet again. And whilst this push, well, I'll say that this is a push, you can't really call that a push, can you? There is a bit of an attack from all these pounders on the north side. And those will be difficult to deal with considering all he has is pawns. 8D is doing a decent job here, but as bulls make their way to the front, it's going to make most of this Tech 1 pretty useless. AD at the moment with a ridiculous amount of metal here, unable to spend any of it. And that is due to him trying to eat up as much of this reclaim field as possible to stop his opponent getting any of it. Resbots will not be able to do their job though, as they just get instantly annihilated by Mirrod's forces. There's a single tiger in the mix there, but against 5 bulls, although 2 of them are basically dead. The question is, will this force here of 8Ds manage to inflict the necessary damage? They're attempting to run by, get into the depths of 8D's base, and that grunt, if that grunt would have kept going, it may have been able to get all of these energy converters, but it didn't. And now the pounders make their way up. They will get destroyed pretty much instantaneously. They will not even be able to close range with the bulls, let alone do any damage. Will this grunt push, though? They're able to take out a Tech 2 Constructor. That will be a valuable attack. They are running straight by, though, and looks like they're not actually going to target anything specific. And the Tech 2 defense will probably go up before they even leave range. Yep. Getting some Tech 2 economy, though, on their way by. A whole total of maybe 1 Tech 2 metal extractor. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the middle here, we've got a few banishes. Oh, a large group of Resbots destroyed. This will mean the reclaim field may go to 8D here. See, Beamer's stopping this Tiger push, and a Banisher lost to basically Tech 1 units is not a good look to have. You know, these grunts are still somehow going strong. Mirrod is ahead in all kind of statistics here. APM clan hoping that their teammate is victorious. Bear in mind, if it's yellow like this, it's spectator chat. It's only visible to spectators. The few fighters that were built early on have now paid themselves off by stopping those shurikens. 2 shurikens, well, 2 bulls were killed, but at the same time, so were 2 tigers. And meanwhile, this tiny outcrop up here, this has been up here pretty much since the start of the game, and has definitely paid itself off, generating 6 metal a second. And it's just sat up there, doing its thing. And meanwhile, we see AD here building armed metal extractors, but he has no energy to power any of it. Currently running 3 factories. Army value is massive. That is correct. Army value, we're seeing basically a 9k difference in army value here. A huge amount of bull to tiger ratio. As this huge bull and jaguar push on this north side, this army here is basically a distraction. The jags are there to provide cover from the shurikens, but this is the army that we need to be worried about. A big jag push combined with a couple of bulls in the background. This will, if microed, get right into the back line and cause enough damage to cause problem. The tigers and grunts and pounders are all making their way up here to try and deal with this push, as well as looks like they may be able to pick up this Tech 2 Constructor here as well. No, they just pulled back before it's ready. 8D's commander, though, now having to run to save his life into the sea. And 8D in trouble. Bulls on the south side get surrounded, but not enough damage still to be inflicted here. Resbots trying to resurrect the units to try and get some more value, but still unable to really keep up. Huge differences in economy at this point. We can see that, you know, these are only just starting to get to Tech 2. Meanwhile, at the bottom, Mirrod has finished pretty much all of his Tech 2 mexes that he has available to himself along this bottom side, with plenty more avenues to attack further afield, or to upgrade, sorry, further afield. Meanwhile, these LLTs will not stand up to the force of Tech 2. I was hoping that the Tech 2 of of Mirrod's balls will be enough to stop Mirrod's balls. And I am surprised that these fighters have just been sat over the base for a while now, trying to stop any new shurikens being built, but the shurikens were being built down here. So not really that big of a problem. Enough resbots now though. Will this turn the tide? Hard to say. AD is in a bit of a pickle here. Mirrod though does not have the energy to actually use all of the metal he's making. And he really could do with some banishers or something, 8D, to assist in his push here, dealing with the bulls. And lots of advanced solars being built. He is trying... Oh, he's building... This is not a good point. He's building advanced solars and a fusion reactor at the exact same time. Probably not the best, of course. As you're basically stalling energy right now, which is why he's got so much metal in the bank. A mistake of planning. Just a little too far ahead, but as soon as this fusion goes up, it's pretty much it. The Resbot Ball was almost taken out there. And 8D is just really struggling. He is 13k of metal in arrears at the moment when it comes to army value, and that number is going up with every resurrected tank. As the Resbots do their thing, bringing the dead back to life. And this is why you don't chase too far. You need to control the reclaim. And the Tech 1 grunts are not really going to be doing much here. He's kind of maybe hoping that the grunts manage to get through and kill the Resbots, but that's another tiger now for the army of Mirrod. And it's just not going good. We do see a few banishers now start to roll off the production line. And actually, if we press shift space, we can see from the bot lab we have Resbots, Trashers, Grunts, Resbots. Just keep an eye on this fight actually quickly, because that is more important. And AD just losing ground left and right. From the Tech 2 lab, we see Tigers, Radar Jammer, Radar, Banisher, basically on repeat. It's like 9 Tigers, I think, to 1 Banisher. Which, to be honest, I feel like he could probably do with a bit more Banishers here. And now also losing his entire Resbot army. AD are losing a lot of value there. And Mirrod just basically doing the inverse of what we saw at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, we saw 8D applying great pressure to Mirrod, stopping him pushing forward whatsoever, and now the opposite has happened. 8D being very, very successfully contained. The Banishers will kind of put a bit of pressure on Mirrod here to make a bit of an attack. But look how much metal Mirrod has just sat in the bank, waiting to go. All this time, 8D still does not have enough energy to even power his cloak being stationary. And with the Starlights now making their way out, they will focus down the Banishers. And there goes a complete collapse of the front line of 8D. Banishers need to be supported. They are pretty flimsy when it comes to a vehicle. And just now the sheer alpha from the Starlights basically completely destroyed that force. Meanwhile, 8D's comm is detected in the center. A few pounders attempting to do some stuff there, but nothing that AD's commander cannot handle. But with 11K's worth of metal now, just sat directly outside of of 8D's base. He desperately needs to get that reclaim, but it's just not gonna happen. But you know what might work wonders here for 8D? Azar. He can like micro Azar to hit the starlights. That may work quite well. Oh, literally as I say that, he's building one. Maybe even a negotiator if Mirrored wants to just sit at range like this and not really commit. A negotiator would force him to fall back or go in. But honestly, I don't think... Ooh, friendly fire there on the Banisher, taking out a Starlight. Unless we see some tick spam here, 8D is going to lose. Oh, not tick spam, just spam in general. 8D, though, calls a GG.
Commander has fallen. Battle
Mirrored
ended.
at the end there was just about to start getting tech free out, so I don't think 8D was much longer for this world anyway. But he did fairly well. We've seen Mirrored a few times on the channel. It's the first time we've seen 8D, and you can just see that he was behind pretty much the entire game when it comes to metal used. The metal produced, you can see that curve is quite a bit bigger in the difference between total metal. Damage dealt, you can see that AD was doing pretty well up to the mid-game, actually dealing more damage to Mirrored than Mirrored did. But just past that mid-game point, he just couldn't deal with the bulls. And those bulls were able to get tremendous amounts of value. And then the reclaim along with that as well. Just basically secured Mirrored that win. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to give the video a like and a subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.